If your ink's too slow and your nib won't flow, here's one of the places that you can go. Larry is here to see you through with Mr. Announcer and Cubby too. It's Larry's Fountain Pen Reviews.
All right, folks, we're recording live now. So what we're going to talk about is pens today. And what I'm wanting to find out, because I think I brought it up on the last Zoom, what makes the Mont Blanc 144 nib fade? Not the gold tip, but on the nib itself, part of the gold now has been faded. Not me, somebody else, and that is not real gold on all over the whole nib. Isn't that right? If anybody knows that answer, I'm trying to find it now.
It should be.
Anybody can elaborate on that?
I mean, I've seen pictures of these things, but I don't know why they wouldn't.
If it's gold of any sort, it has to be stamped.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's stamped.
Unless it's like, I don't know how to put it, gold on top of a rhodium on top of gold, then it would wear away a little bit. But who would do that?
I don't think.
I decided to try out a Casper mattress, and let me tell you guys, that is.
I think I found it.
Sponsored content. All right.
Yeah.
We're in trouble now.
Let me see here. Here we go.
Okay, we're getting close.
Getting close.
The 144 I've never had. I don't think I've ever played with a 144. 146, 149 I've definitely played with and owned, but don't think I've ever even touched a 144.
Yeah, I like them myself.
Vintage, like a 32, some and a few others from the 60s and 70s. Those I've touched and played with, but I can't speak to the 144 at all.
Yeah, the 144, the maroon or red ones came out before before the black ones, and they were talking about being plastic, blah blah blah. They weren't. The black ones weren't as made as well as the red ones. So that's why I'm checking on a nib for someone. I know it's in here. I got half it. Here we go, Jake. Send these to them. All right, my fearless pen friends, here we go. I'm going to send this to Jekyll. So I hope, here we go. I'm going to send it to the Gmail. Okay. Or not.
Me or school?
To you. Oh,
Okay.
yeah.
Ben, what are you showing there? Is that a 149 and a 144?
And 149.
Oh my God.
Oh, big,
Or one. What do you call the big one? 149, right?
149, the big one.
Yeah, and a 140.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
They look exactly the same, but one is like miniaturized.
Grandpa and the newborn.
Yeah, exactly.
They actually have one smaller, the Mozart. I've never had one, but I'd kind of like to have one someday. I love this little pen. It's cartridge only, you know.
Right.
It's not the piston filler, but it's a nice little pen. I like the size of it, but I like the tininess of it. I want a little pen. Mike's going to be making me a small pen, not this small.
Mhm.
But, he's going down to a number 5 nib. He's got some 5 nibs.
Right. Got
And
some 5
he's
nibs. I'm gonna make a slim pen. Yeah.
Yeah, so it won't be this small, but it'll be small enough for me to put it in my pocket anyway. This is my smallest Mike pen now. I love this pen. This went on vacation to Astoria, Oregon a couple weeks ago. Yeah, it went on an airplane. Yeah.
Did it have a nice time?
It had a great time. It leaked all over the place on the airplane, but other than that, it was great.
Oh, it leaked on the plane?
Well, I decided to try to put a cartridge in it because I heard people say that sometimes it doesn't do great to have a pen on an airplane. I don't know what you're supposed to watch out for, but I decided to, just in case, I would go ahead and stick a cartridge in it. So I cleaned it and put a cartridge in it, and it did leak around the cartridge. So
okay, I haven't traveled much with fountain pens, so I can't say much about it. But I'm going to be traveling in November, so I'm definitely listening to. I've been looking at things. I don't know, there is somebody online, someone in our group here probably knows everything about traveling, right?
I do remember someone saying something about the change in air pressure does something.
Oh yeah, that's the problem. Is that when you're up when you go up, when you ascend, the air pressure goes down quite a bit, and coming down it's going up, and so when you're going down, I know you feel it in your ears too. When you're going down, the air is trying to go into the pen because the pen has depressurized when it went up, and so I would think going down isn't the problem. Usually, it's when you go up. Now there's higher pressure air in the pen that needs to equalize, just like your ears do.
It's
and
the
when
opposite.
it does that, it's going to take some ink out with it. What's that?
It's the opposite. When you go up, the sac would contract, and when you you're right. No,
I
never
think
mind.
I'm
You're
pretty
right.
right. That is, when
You're
you
right.
go up,
You're right.
when
Sorry.
you're going up the pressure in the plane, the cabin, they do pressurize the cabin, but it's much less usually than what's on at ground level for most people. So as you go up, the air wants to go out of the pen to equalize the pressure, and when it does that, if ink is in the way, it's going to go out with it. So I've heard things like, well, store the pen vertically,
Nib up, yeah.
With the nib up, that is. Yes, you're right. Nib up like that. Wherever it is, try to have it in this orientation so that when the air goes out, it'll go out through the nib this way, and it's less likely to take ink with it. But there's always ink in the nib, and all this. So I don't know if you can ever guarantee it. I know on some of the, I think the Pilot 823, and I think I've got a couple other pens that have a shutoff where you can turn the shutoff.
Yes.
And so the 823 is a good example of that. And not, the Pilot 823, where you turn it and it'll shut the ink supply off from the nib, so it won't flow into the nib. That's supposed to be better. So, but I'm going to be traveling this November, so I'll try it out. But I guess the big thing is, make sure, wherever the pens are, make sure try to keep them vertical. I've heard also. It's always a wise idea. Maybe they should be in like a Ziploc bag or something to minimize the damage if they do leak, or something.
Also, if you're using a piston filler and you have like a little bit of room to like pull the ink out of the nib feed, just twist it down so that all the ink isn't in the section.
That's probably a good idea.
The fuller the pen is, the less chance that air will push the ink out of the pen. So that's the
right. Well, if it pushes it out, it's gonna. If it sucks it out, then it's gonna push it back in. So
But what Stan is saying, if you get rid of all the air, there's no air. Try to get as little air in the pen as possible. Fill it up as much as you can.
Not just
so
the air.
There's not so much air to try to get out, because it's going to go out no matter what you do.
Not just the air, but the liquid too.
Yeah, the air escaping isn't the problem. It's the ink it carries with it. That's the bad part.
Oh, there you go.
Okay, here we go, folks. Here's the problem. As you see on the nib, it's the discoloration on it. What do you think would cause that?
That's not discoloration. That's
fading. It's called fading.
No, it doesn't. It doesn't look like fading.
Sure,
it looks like
you have to look at it real good. It's fading. I've had other Mont Blanc people look at it, but they couldn't answer the question. Why is it fading? Is it the ink? Is it ink in the cap staying? I've got all kinds of answers. I was just shooting it to y'all. But they call it definitely fading. The nib, the color is fading off the nib. They said not off the tip, but you can see the nib itself where it does a little while like that. On the left-hand side, which I'm looking at, part of it's already gone. And then as you come on down, you'll see more of that fading out. So call it what you will, the gold look is coming off the nib. So what could cause it?
Is that yours?
No. It's for a friend of mine.
Well, it
So-
shows that it's a 14 karat gold, so it's strange.
It's 14
It's
karat gold.
obviously a plating and not solid yellow gold, because gold is yellow
Exactly.
typically. And so it should be kept, it should be all yellow all the way through. But obviously this is a plating on here, and the plating is coming off from
Yeah, I don't know if you can
maybe
see
the
my
type of
mouse
ink
cursor
they're
moving,
using.
but this whole area right here, I've got a couple of different angles. This is the area that looks like silver now, and you can see the fading in that particular area.
The image was a little sharper.
I don't want to sound negative, and maybe I shouldn't be this way, but is your friend absolutely certain this is a genuine Mont Blanc nib?
Yeah, I've checked it. It has some Mont Blanc prints, checked it. All serial numbers, everything is correct on the pen.
It is. It is correct. Okay.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yep, already done my homework. Yep.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay.
Hmm.
Yeah. Is it a
I've
heat
never
issue,
seen one
Larry?
do this.
Is it a heat issue, Larry? Do you know?
Do what?
A heat issue? Could something
Well,
happen to?
there's been a lot of input, ink maybe, ink in the cap, and then they say maybe that's just gold plated over part of the nib, but you actually got the gold on the rest of the nib and on the tip, which hasn't affected tip at all. It writes real well, but I've never seen one do this.
Maybe some kind of chemical reaction happened and something plated on top of the gold.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. That's the only thing I can come up with. Maybe that's plated underneath and finally coming off. But as you can see clearly on the top tip of the nib, it stays on there religiously with no problems at all. But on the tip of the nib, no problem. And that's a 144, the red one.
Was it a two-tone nib to begin with?
No,
It was a gold nib.
it was all gold, or gold plated from, from the tip on down, but not the tip itself. It's actually gold.
Yeah, are y'all able to see my cursor moving?
Yes.
Okay, so like in this area, I've got another picture that's a slightly different angle. So this area appears to be the original gold color, and then right in this area over that number is the original gold. Then on the sides, it's the lighter gold coloring and then the fade into the silver in here. It's not a reflection. It's the actual color of the nib.
Hmm. Yeah, I'm looking at all these pens, and I'm kind of seeing this happen with all of them. Like all of the 144s, and I see have this like a little bit of fading issue.
You do? Barely. You see it?
I'm looking on Google right now, and like.
Okay, see if you can pull one up.
Yeah, can you pull one up?
Like this one has an issue. I mean, the whole nib is practically. Just let me open this there. It looks like the whole nib got.
Mm-hmm.
Is that
And
fading
then-
or is that a two-tone nib maybe?
And then this one here.
Dan, look at yours real quick.
I am. It looks absolutely fine. There's no
That's
fading of any kind.
That's two-tone nib, but I did see one. Oh, here it is. This one looks like it has a fading issue. Do you see?
Mhm.
Yeah,
There.
that's weird. Yeah.
Weird.
Hey,
Mine's
Tina,
pretty
nice
good.
to see you. Oh,
No.
So I don't know what's causing it. It could be just plated on that part.
Yeah.
That's not one I've ever seen do it. Maybe Troy might know. Troy, can you see it?
Yeah, I was looking at the nib. I'll be honest with you. I honestly don't know. I mean, it could be a number of things. It could, I mean, it could be that it's that it was plating wearing off. It could have been something got on it and like an acid. I have no idea. I have no clue. And
Now,
considering we don't know the
another-
history, it's hard to tell.
This is another picture of the 144. You can
Yeah.
see right around
Yeah,
the places where it's like chipping off. It's weird. I've never seen like anything like that happen to any of my pens, even my cheap Jinhao pens. That's
all right. Well, we'll move on. I'll just have to let them know that we can guess, but that's about close as we can do is guess. So, all right. Who would like to open it up with something else? Dun, 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 dun,
Well,
dun,
I could open something.
dun, dun.
Yes.
Here comes Godzilla. Oh, I'm sorry, Stan, go ahead.
If any of you have a Hongjian N7 pen, I recently found out that the section actually unscrews.
oh, it does.
I don't know if I can unscrew it right now. I tightened it up, but
What
yeah,
pin is that?
Hongjian N7.
All right.
Basically, what happened, I was unscrewing the pen like this vertically, and I was holding it at the barrel, and I was unscrewing the cap, and the section ended up being in the cap. So this is how I found out. Luckily, I didn't spill any ink. It's really tight, and it's actually a nib unit, but I don't know if it's possible to unscrew. I know I lost the O-ring inside there, but I don't know if I can ever unscrew it. It feels like they put some glue on it, and on the section glue disappeared, but on the nib unit it's still strong. So just so you know, you can have that issue with the pen. Oh, here you go, unscrew.
Does that happen all the time, Stan?
No, just once. There.
Oh dear.
And let me see if I can show it.
Yeah. Huh.
It's a nib unit there. Ugh, it's kind of hard to. It's not focusing very well, but it's a nib unit in there.
Hey, Stan, did you manage to make it to the DC Pen Show this year?
No. This year I didn't.
Yeah, I know I didn't see you there this year, so I was just curious.
All right. Anybody else? Stan? Anybody else?
Well, what are you looking for conversation? Where do you want to go with it, Larry?
Yeah, we're supposed to be talking about pins, okay? Any pins, da. So
Sure.
if you got any
Well,
pins you like to
I got about
criticize, praise,
I got about 7 of them that I've gotten here recently, probably since certainly since the last time we've had a conversation where I've been on one. So if
Well,
you want to
that's
see
good.
some of those, I'll
Yeah.
show you.
and please, while you're at it, give your positives and negatives about it.
Sure. Vintage. This one right here, 1940s. It's a nurse's pen by Waterman. I've seen some really cool doctor sets out there, and you know some of the doctor sets from the 40s came. You would have one with a pen, a fountain pen, one with a pencil, and you'd have one that would carry a thermometer. That would be a match to it.
Really?
And the nurses did the same thing. The nurses' pens are a little smaller than the doctor's pens. At the DC show, there was a collector there that actually had a really cool nurses set, and I think one of them actually had a thermometer. So it was a pen and a thermometer. There's a neat website out there, and I'm going to be doing a video on this one here probably in the next day or two, nursespens.com, I think. And it has a lot of information about not only Waterman, but there are other brands. I think Parker made some as well. And they usually had 3 different colors for like towards the top for the finial. I think black, red, and green, and each would signify the shift that they were typically on, and also the ink that they would have when they were right on charts back in the 40s and 50s. the ink of a different color would signify a different shift of each of the 3 shifts. So they came in kind of like this yellowish pearl, and they also had them in white. But this one happened to be a yellowish pearl one. And I was given a couple of gift cards for eBay for my for one for Father's Day and one for my birthday. And so I put those 2 together, and I went ahead and picked that up. And it's got a nice little number 2 Waterman flexible nib on it. And I've been playing with this, and it actually writes fairly well. Some of my pen pals have gotten that pen used on a letter for them. So it's kind of neat. I mean, I like new, I like vintage. And speaking of vintage, just recently I managed to pick up at auction this one here, Wall Eversharp Gold Seal from the circa 1927 up through 1930, somewhere in there, celluloid. So this is kind of a neat. It's not quite the pearl, the pearl in black, but it's got a little bit of greenish, slightly discolored. And what's bizarre on this one that I found is that nib actually looks like it's slightly bent, but it still writes. It still writes fairly well, and it writes extremely fine on it. So that was kind of one of those I just picked up at auction. I apparently was the highest bidder and didn't go really high on it. So Dr. Joe Vitolo, you know how he tends lately to like the Kilk brand of pens. He's been sharing some of those. And I was actually having some back and forth with Penultimate Dave. He used to go by Visconti Dave over in England. And he and I were talking about this particular pen. This is the Novo Baroque by Kilk. It doesn't have a clip, but it does have that roll stop on it. And it's made in Turkey, in Istanbul. When I first got it, this particular pen actually, it didn't write anywhere near as well as I had hoped. In some conversation with somebody, they said that they thought that the nibs actually came from Magna Carta. Even though on the sales website, they typically have been saying it was a Bach nib. So that's what I went with when I was talking about it was originally a Bach nib. But it would explain why it didn't write so well. I've not had good success with Magna Carta, personally. So I'm still going to have to do some work on one of my Magna Cartas, where I'm going to have to flush it real well, maybe do some nib work in order to get it to work well. But now that I've flushed it, changed inks, and done some nib work on it, this now writes really, really well. So, you know, I really like that that calico style, or I don't know what you call it, but you know, it's that brown. Another vintage one I picked up here, and I know Dan, this is the one that you kind of were wanting to see, that
Yes.
oversized Schaefer balance.
Yeah.
And I picked this up. Independence had put out one of their daily, monthly trays. And I saw this one on there, and it really interested me because, number one, it's Schaefer balance. Okay, 30s rather, oversized. And then it had a factory stub nib, which you don't normally get a chance to get anymore. But it looked almost new old stock when they got it. But a factory stub nib, and it's still very fine for the line. It's not like a 1.1 stub, but it is a stub. It's more like a fine stub. So I picked that up not too long ago. And I went to the DC show without a lot of budget. And this actually arrived while I was in DC. And I said, all right, if I don't get anything, hey, I still got a really cool Schaefer at home. Well, I went ahead and I actually spent a lot more money in DC than I planned anyway. And this is one of the cool ones I really liked.
Yeah.
That one's affordable. Yeah. It's bizarre. I'm sorry, guys. That doesn't spell that does not spell narwhal. Navalur. But they still pronounce it narwhal because apparently they had some legal problems. You couldn't trademark an animal name. I'm thinking, really? I'm thinking Jaguar Motors, had been around for like decades. They managed to do it, but so they changed their name, and I guess Navalur, or supposedly still pronounced narwhal. Go figure. I'm going to have fun playing with that name here when I eventually do a video on this one. But it has those little ink windows, those little ports, and they couldn't do it in acrylic. They tried to make this in an acrylic, but they couldn't do it, so they did it in ebonite. And it's a piston filler. And, you know, Narwhal, their first pens they came out with, they're original. I've got one of them here, a Merriman, and I got my wife one as well. And I had a really good chat with the guys at Narwhal. And one of the things I told them, my only disappointment in your original series is it only came in fine nib. And they said, yeah, well, we've expanded. So I actually got this one in a broad nib, and I'm glad I did because it actually writes on the narrow side of broad. So it's more like a medium nib. And but it's really pretty. That one was in a berry color. And I also picked up a bottle of KWZ grapefruit, which was kind of on my hit list for inks. And because I saw it, I really liked it. And I'm walking around. I don't know if anybody, any guys know, if you follow on Instagram, Randomly Rachel, who is married to the Pen Sloth. So she's got a blog and she's on Instagram a lot. And I'm walking around on Thursday, and I first caught my eye was a bottle of KWZ ink on a day trader's table. And then I looked, oh, hey, I know you. You're Rachel. Okay, cool. So she was selling out that bottle for like $7, and some of it was gone. I said, perfect. You know, instead of paying 15, I'll pay 7, and I'll try the ink that I've been wanting for a while. But you know, the Narwhal, I like that. Matthew got a Narwhal, and I think he just walked in here with it, and he said a pen. That's the Skykill, and so he picked up that one.
Schoolkill.
Yeah, however they pronounce it, Schoolkill, Skykill,
Schoolkill.
So it's got that little ink window in it, but I think it's kind of, they did a good job on that ink window.
Are they using Yovo nibs or in-house?
Not their own house nib.
Yeah, my understanding is they are doing all in-house for their nibs. I mean, they did okay. This one here, no problems with it. I didn't have any problems. As a matter of fact, I still have inked up. Believe it or not, for almost 2 years now, I've had that Narwhal original inked up and haven't had any problems with it. And if it still has ink in it, then I'll pull it out and I'll write with it first time every time. So I've been happy with their products. But this one here, I just thought was the coolest thing with those little ink windows. By the way, if you go to a pen show, they don't accept cash. Go figure. It was credit card only. So Matthew goes up to go pay with cash, and they said, our system doesn't allow us to use that option of paying cash. Really? Yeah, okay. So basically he handed me some cash, and I handed him some change back, and I whipped out a card, and I paid for both of ours together. So you know, that's how we ended up doing that one. Here's one that surprised me. Big old black ebonite pen from India. Acriv, A-C-R-I-V. I was not familiar with Acriv at all, but it turns out it's a family-owned business, and you know, they make their own nibs, they make their own pens, and they had a table full of dirt cheap pens. I mean, $25 for their cheapest ones. Some were 50, some were 70, and so they had some ebonite pens for $70, and okay, cool. So I went back, and they were downstairs with all the other custom makers of how they did it in DC this year. And I'm looking at some of the ebonite pens, and then she said, "You like ebonite?" Well, yeah. So she reaches over and grabs this one. I said, "Ooh, you have my attention. Mike, you know how I like black ebonite pens." So they had this one. And okay, I'm interested. What's an Ebowrite? E-B-O-W-R-I-T-E. It's an oversized. And I went ahead and got a broad on this one too, because my experience so far with Indian-made nibs is they also, like Japanese nibs, tend to write a little narrower than what you would normally think. So they make all of their own nibs, and I'm telling you, my youngest son Benjamin bought one of their fountain pens with his own money, $25. And my wife had eyeballed one earlier. So when I went to go buy this, I went ahead and said, all right, give me this one right here, this pink one. And so she put the two together, and she only charged me like $80 for them both. Okay, and they gave me a pen sleeve of my choice, a leather pen case to put this in for mine, a leather pen case to put hers in. And Benjamin bought one. He got a nice little pen roll to go with it. But they make all their own nibs in their titanium.
All right.
They make their own titanium nibs.
So this is titanium?
Titanium in a broad nib. And she said, I've got a black broad nib that would go great with that. Perfect. The only downside to it, and I guess it's a downside if you don't like them, it's an eyedropper only. And I've learned a lot of Indian pens, for some reason, they love to make eyedropper pens.
Yeah.
And so just for grins, I took a look at it and okay, I don't see where I can stick in a cartridge if I wanted to. I can't put in a converter. I don't see where there's either, the back side of the feed is flush, so there's no putting it in. So just for grins, let me take a cartridge and even if I wanted to, the hole is so small, a cartridge would never fit into the back side of the section. So even if you had a different feed for it, it never would work on this. So I eyedropper filled it, and you know what? It actually writes great. I was really surprised at how well this wrote. This was the big surprise to me from the pen show, is when I wrote, it was like, wow, great nib. So if you can find them, the Ebo Write, and they go like $70. And it's one of the better writing pens that I've used here recently. And I think the last one I picked up, going back to a Wall Eversharp, I got the Deco Band, the modern Deco Band.
That looks sharp. Yeah.
It does. And one of the things that the modern Wall Eversharps, they've got so many fantastic colors that they've come out with. And I saw some really gorgeous ones at the show from different vendors, some gorgeous blues, reds, pinks, and some theme pens. But this one here, that etched black, I said, now that right there is sweet right there. And the nib takes a little bit of getting used to because it's got a great big nib and it's a flex. And they make one nib. That's it. They only put one nib in these pens. You can't get it any other way, just that one nib. And it's a great big honking flex nib. So that was
nib size on it.
Medium,
medium or
these are more of a medium to broad when you write with it, and you can get a whole lot of ink variation. It's like a fire hose. It's literally a fire hose kind of writing with it. It writes really wet and heavy ink flow on it. A lot of flex to it. And when you put nib to paper, it surprises you how springy that is when you go to write with it. So it takes some getting used to. And it's really heavy. It's really hefty. So it takes a lot of getting used to writing with this particular pen. But I've been eyeballing these for a long time, and that's something I snatched up at the DC show as well. And that's the most expensive purchase I made in DC was this one right here. So I got that one from Chatterley Luxuries, had them at their table. They had some of the better prices of some of the other vendors that were out there. So
that's a gold nib. What's a gold nib, Troy?
Yeah, it's I believe it's gold. And I'm just it takes some, like I said, it takes some getting used to it. And it's a big honking gorgeous pen. I won't say it's my favorite writing one out of this batch, but it's definitely a nice addition to the collection. It's very different. It's also got those power fillers. So you unscrew it, you pull. You pull out and then you slap it down, and so it's not like a cartridge converter. It's not quite like a Visconti power filler, but probably the same idea as that. So
yeah, I like a nice heavyweight large pen and wet fire hose. I love it. Yeah, like the triple. What do you call it? The Noodler's triple tail. Nice fire hose. Loved it. The way it goes down with the ink. Almost drink it. I don't. So, all right. What else you got for us, Mr. Troy?
Well, that's most of what I get for.
Do you by chance have a sample of that grapefruit ink by chance?
I can get you one.
Yeah.
You want to know like a writing sample for it?
Well, yeah,
Or-
I just want to see the actual color of it. Yeah. Yeah. Dun,
All right,
dun,
hold on.
dun, 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 and the sharks go after him. Dun, 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 dun. Oh, that's a pretty grapefruit. Dun, 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 dun. Dun, 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 dun.
Mm.
Where is Lannis?
Mm.
Ah, okay. All right. All right. That's not too bad of a color. You like it?
Yeah, so far. I mean, it's when you look at it online, it's a little different. It's the swatch is probably not quite as bright as it tends to write, I think, but it's so far so good. I've got no complaints about the ink. You already know what you're getting into when you look at it. Or it's an orangish ink. And it's not quite as ruby red as you would think with a grapefruit. It's a little more, orangish than you normally would think. But still, it's pretty cool. I mean, I can't complain about it.
I'm sorry. Go ahead, Troy. Go ahead.
Matthew brought in a pen here just a minute ago. Just he wanted me to show you. He also got his own Jim Hines pen right there.
Oh, nice.
Beautiful.
Oh, let's see what color the nib is.
Let's see I don't think he got a colored nib. I don't know. Let me check. Oh, yeah, he did. Black.
Black. That's pretty.
Now,
Nice.
Jim made Matthew make a promise on that pen. Jim cut him a deal on that pen if and only if he would agree to do his own pen review solo.
Whoa.
Nice.
So I've been trying to get him to do his own. When he got one from the Raleigh show, he wouldn't do it. He was just kind of timid about it. I said, I'll help you. Still kind of timid about it. And I joked with Jim about that previously. So Jim and I keep in touch from time to time. And Jim said, I'll cut you a deal on it, but you got to make me a promise. I'll give you this amazing price, but if and only if you agree, you're going to do a full review on your own.
Great.
They shook hands on it. So Matthew and I have been talking about it, and we've been, going over what he wants to include, what he wants to do. So look for that within the next couple of weeks too. So, but yeah, he just brought this in a little bit ago and wanted to show off his, there you go. Here's your pen back, kiddo. You can at least say, hey.
Hi.
Hi.
As long as you're going to show your
Can I
face,
take this back?
you can take that one back too.
Okay.
Love you too.
That's neat.
It comes with the pin.
Yeah, was it Narwhal that one?
Yes.
Okay.
I want
Oh,
to
there
see
you go.
your wife's pink pen, Troy.
That's
go ask.
yeah. You can go ask
Okay.
her because she is in the living room. And hey, ask her for that Jim Hines one too. Sharon bought her own, the See You in St. Louis, the St. Louis Pen Show special edition that Jim did. That he has. You can probably still find it on their website. And there was a bottle of KWZ ink that they included that's supposed to match the pen. So Jim shipped me that, or her that. And so Sharon bought her own version of that. That Akrif pen, Matthew went to go inquire about it, so maybe she'll have it here shortly. But yeah, I didn't know anything about Akrif. I had never heard about them before until I got to that, until the pen show and I saw their booth. What you looking for, son?
Oh, I was thinking about his other Jim Hines pen, like the pink. No, the other one that she got a couple of years ago.
Yeah, but that's not the one we were just talking about. The brand new one that the two she got from DC are the ones that we were talking about. And you can take Slime Dog out with you and Brady. Of course, the dogs had to come in too. It's almost they another 45 minutes and they go for a walk, so they're following along, thinking, "I'm going to get a walk now." Come here, Brady. Come here. Come here. Come here, baby. Come on. All right. Come on. This is Brady.
Oh.
Hi, baby.
Hi, Brady.
Give hugs and kisses.
Aw. What kind of
He's,
dog is he, Troy?
he is half poodle and half papillon.
He's a
And he's a,
pappy
yeah, he's a pappy poo. Go ahead, take him.
Okay.
And so he is, he's recovered. Go ahead, take him, take him. So he's recovering from getting a haircut here recently.
Brady, ow,
Go, guys. Thank you.
Give me a
Oh, being a family guy. That's our Jim
Oh, nice.
right there. That's the Jim Hines one that he made for the St. Louis Pen Show.
Isn't that lovely?
Nice.
And what
Does
color
she-
is the nib on there?
Take a look because I didn't really do anything but fill it for her. It's just a silver. Just,
Okay. Very
and-
nice. Very
And
nice.
Jim did not cut her a deal, so she was. And then funny, we get back from the DC show. Jim turned around and had a 50% off sale for his subscribers to his email list.
I got that.
I would have been
email,
very cross.
So she would have gotten this half price. But I went ahead. Hey, I went ahead and I took advantage of that sale. I wasn't going to let that go undone.
Does she know that?
Yeah, she knows. But Jim came out with that new Ursta model. And I gave away an Ursta on my YouTube channel, so I couldn't go without buying myself one. So
Oh, very nice. Very
I mean,
nice.
50% off.
Let's go.
Yeah,
All right.
we'll go do that. So I went ahead and got that one, like a 1.1 stub, and so that's it. Apparently, we're not going to see the Indian pen, but this is that's the pen case they gave her. Buy a $25.
Nice one. Nice one.
Bought a $25 pen. It came with a titanium nib, and they gave her a all leather pen case.
Wow,
I mean,
What a sweet deal.
that's incredible.
well, they also threw in a couple of others because I don't know if they just liked us or what, but I mean, they threw in one of these pen rolls for me. They said here. Then they, for that black ebonite one, they threw that in. That's all leather. It's like, really? She said, yeah, take your pick. How about this black one? Sure. And Ben got a ballistic nylon one that holds like 5 or 6, like a little pen roll. It's like, wow. So I was just surprised that they were just giving us stuff. And pen sleeves seem to be the thing because I got a couple of them from Chatterley Luxuries. They gave me a couple of them. They gave us a couple of them at Narwhal.
Did they have some David Oscarson?
I don't recall if they did or not because I wasn't looking for David Oscarson at their table. Actually, I was looking for David Oscarson at David Oscarson's table. If you never had a chance to meet David Oscarson, if you go to a pen show, he'll stand there and talk to you. Nice guy. He has some of the most expensive pens on planet Earth, but he'll definitely take the time to show you what he does, explain what he does, and what makes his stuff a little bit different. So last year at the DC show, he did that with me, and he let me film. He let me record something and he gave a little talk, and I actually got a video up on that about this is the process that I do. And this is what makes this pen or this series different. And nice guy. He really was.
He seems like I've never met him, but his persona on, a lot of different, videos I've seen, it seems to be that he's a really nice guy. That David Oscarson, that would be a grail pen for me. Nothing I'm ever going to get, but he's got a lovely harvest line and seashore line, and those are some of the really early models he did make. But that ain't a happening thing for this girl.
Yeah, my other son came in. He's got some easy. Come here, Benjamin. Since you came in here, you might as well show. He's stuffing a donut in his face.
Hi,
So
Benjamin. Give me some donuts. Yay. Love donuts.
It's maple frosted.
Oh.
Yeah, we did a Dunkin' run early this morning on the way to church, like we do most Sundays, and he saved one of them. Of course, he's not going to have that for breakfast before school tomorrow. Now, apparently.
Here we go. Can't help it.
Hey,
All right, I'm going to bring up really an amazing in my opinion, that Mike made me. The colors in this, man, are just blow your mind away. He just did one heck of a job on it. You can't really see the colors on the camera. If you had it in front of your face, you could say, yep. So, Mike, would you care to talk about this pen you made?
Wow, I didn't know there was going to be a test. Let's see. That's the Omnicolor
Or this
pen,
one.
isn't it? Yeah. Yeah. Oh my gosh! Don't do that.
But the other one,
Okay, that is the
beautiful pen.
Yeah, that is the new one. The Omnicolor is the name of the blank. It's made by Pensmiths. It's beautiful. Yeah, the camera is not really doing it any justice.
Yeah, yeah, but it's really pretty.
And that is also another oversized pen. It takes a it has a number 6 nib on it, but it takes the TWSBI cartridges as well as the standard cartridges, so you have more ink capacity to choose. And of course, Larry wanted it with a clip. It has a clip.
Yeah, mine don't come with clips usually. I don't get into clipless pens very much at all.
Yeah. But yeah, it was a lot of fun to make.
Beautiful pen though. Yep. All right. Anybody else?
I'll talk for a moment if you want. I think I may have shown this before, but I also got a Nautilus pen. This was at the St. Louis show, and again, I love those little porthole windows. It's it's called the Nautilus. Of course, I like Jules Verne a lot, so of course I had to get a pen with the portholes. So very nice pen. I really enjoyed it. This is a medium, and it writes. You're right. It does, Troy. You're right. It writes a little bit narrower than you'd expect for a medium, but I like fines and mediums, so it worked out really well. Yeah, so it's a beautiful pen. And let's see. I just recently got this. This is more of a question for you guys. I got this. I think Dan was talking a couple Hangouts ago about them, and so I said, well, I'm gonna go check this out. So this is a nib holder from River City Pens, and I'm just kind of looking at it. I mean, a lot of people are really enjoying these. This is a
Kakamori.
The nib Kakamori. Yeah, it's a Kakamori. This is the brass one. Nib, and boy, I haven't written a lot with it, but boy, it'll write a long time with one dip of the pen.
I have a stainless steel version. I love it.
They have a stainless steel version. They have you have the stainless steel. Okay, yeah, there you go. I have one of those too, and I got their aluminum holder, and I put the stainless steel in the aluminum. I always like to match things up, but I did go get this one here from River Cities, and I've lost the name of it, but boy, it's a beautiful holder.
Yeah, that's a beautiful holder. Where did you make that?
No, River City Pens. Rich made this, and he's been putting them on Instagram for quite a while now. He's been making these, and gorgeous holders.
Oh wow!
He makes several different styles. This I think is called his slim style, and so I bought this, and like I said, I played with it a little bit, and as you can see, it's got a standard kind of an insert. You can
brass
pull it in and out.
A ferrule.
And
sorry, yeah.
It's got it looks like a plastic ferrule in there.
So is it a plastic ferrule? Oh, that's
I believe
interesting.
So. Yes, I thought that was interesting. Here's the I don't know if you can see it. There you go.
Oh, so it does have the Tachikawa. If you
oh, is that what it is?
It has a Tachikawa insert. That's interesting.
Yeah.
I like that a lot.
Yes, it works very nicely when you're putting nibs in and out.
This is
very smooth.
Tachikawa nib holder that was advertised with the pen, but I got the nib first, and I can't. Oh, it came out. Oh. I couldn't get the thing out of there, but I know that it goes in there like that.
Yeah, that's what mine, this one goes in and out very, it doesn't fall out or anything, but it holds it very firmly, but I have had no trouble with it sticking or anything like that. I guess I'll see, you were able to pull your nib out, and Stan was able to get his section to unthread. Anybody got
the
stuck
one-
parts they need to undo while we're on here?
See,
'Cause it
the
looks like
one
everything's coming
problem-
unstuck.
The one problem with that I have with it is that it's like super tight to get into the bottom of a. So I put it in my because it's thinner, a little bit thinner.
Okay.
So.
I forgot what I wanted to. I don't know if you know it, but you can make an inkwell out of the simple inkwell samples.
Right.
Ink
That's
sample
what you've
vial.
got there. I'm
Do you
just gonna
know-
dig
do
one
you
out
know?
here. So see, like on this one, yeah, this one's narrow enough that it goes into a sample bottle really easily. So it's
Yeah.
not too
Oh
wide,
man.
too wide to go in.
Can you send me a link to that? That'd be great.
Sure.
Thanks.
This is River City Pens. Oops, I'm holding it too low. River City Pens.
Yeah, they go to a lot of major pen shows, so
Yeah,
you'll
I
see
sat
them around quite a
right
bit.
next to him. I think it was the Chicago show. I sat this year's Chicago show. Sat right next to him and wandered over there. I actually didn't buy any pens from him at the Chicago show, but I just recently got this one from them. So,
And I think
beautiful,
they got a cool looking dog in their logo.
Oh yeah, yeah.
We
I've
all
not
love
seen-
dogs, right?
I've not seen a nib like that. It looks like almost like the nib on a glass pen.
Yeah, it's a. I don't know how long have Kakamori nibs been around. Oops, I'm trying to get it. up
Not
here.
very long. They just come onto the scene of maybe last year.
I think were they a response to the oh shoot, now I've lost the other. What was the nib that came out that was really expensive?
Drill log.
Drill log
Yeah.
came out like what, a couple, they came out, hit the scenes like a year or two ago.
It was
And-
meant to look like the end of a glass tip nib, only it was metal. But
Right.
the problem with it is they wanted like $200 just for the end piece, and you had to buy the stick too, and that was outrageously expensive. But this little dip nib was only like $40, maybe.
Yeah, that's about what I paid for this one too. Yeah. And
Yeah.
these seem, I've got some glass dip nib, or I've got one glass dip nib, and I've used it for ink samples, and it doesn't last anywhere near as long as this. This really goes. I got it going. Oh yeah, the glass nibs. Yeah.
Do those come with a cap of any kind?
I know this
Or
didn't
how do
come
you
with a
put it?
cap or anything like that.
So when you're not using them, you just kind of what?
Well,
Lay
well,
it
you write with it, and when you're done,
Yeah.
you just swish it in a little water, and it's clean.
Water. Yeah.
So if you
Oh,
like to,
okay.
if you want to, if you're,
It's got
like,
little
yeah,
grooves in it, so
Yeah.
that way that it doesn't hold a super amount of ink. But the great thing about it is when you do it sideways, I'll give you a little sample. I'll set my rig up here and I'll do a little sample for you. We'll do Sailor Gentle Grenade. How's that? All right.
I'm on their website, River City's website, and I can't find the Takakawa.
oh, I don't
No.
think they sell the nibs, but they sell the holders.
Yeah.
So where do you get the nibs?
I believe I got mine from the
St. Louis Pen Company.
Yep, I got it from the St. Louis
Wow.
company.
I like that.
Yeah,
Yes.
I thought Larry would.
Oh, yeah.
You just turn
Love
it
it.
sideways, and it has a nice broad line, and like
Love it.
this thing will write forever. I mean, it's beautiful.